Alright, so let us talk about Taylor Swift's new surprise folklore album. I actually had to wear this t-shirt again. I wore this a couple of days ago to do like a fearless cover on Instagram.
And I don't know how it gets better unless you take my hand and drag me head first.
And I didn't know, well, nobody knew that she was gonna announce an entirely new surprise album called Folklore, and it just was released a few hours ago. 2 hours ago. At 12 o'clock, tutok na kami ng sister ko, and we listened to the entire thing. We watched Cardigan first, and then somehow the rest of the songs were uploaded, so we watched the lyric video in sequence. I've only listened to the entire list of songs once, so these are like my initial reactions. I feel like I'm not over Lover yet. It's such a fresh album in my head, and now we have this new 8th album to digest and to kind of appreciate and tear apart and discuss. Actually, when I first found out about the announcement, my heart couldn't stop pounding. I really felt nervous and overwhelmed and very excited, and I just couldn't explain it. I really relish the moment when you don't know yet what's going on, what's gonna happen, how a thing is gonna sound like. The moment right before you listen to an album that you've been anticipating, that's just really like a magical, untouchable moment that you cannot recreate ever again. So I really pay attention to all my thoughts and feelings whenever I listen to a new album, especially Taylor Swift's albums. Alright, so my initial top 3 songs from first listen would be The Last Great American Dynasty. I think that was like my runaway favorite, and I kept waiting for songs that I might like better than that, but nothing topped The Last Great American Dynasty. I feel like that is really the best song on the album for me. Songwriting wise, it's so clever, it's fast, it's very narrative based. It is telling a very specific story. It's a surprise that she somehow involves herself in the end of it, and it reminds me somehow of Starlight from Red, because that song draws a little bit of the Kennedy family's history and love story. My top 2 is Invisible String. I really love the way that the song was structured. Blank was the blank of the blank, like Bad was the blood of the song that was playing on the radio in your cab or something like that. She referenced Bad Blood, and I'm assuming her relationship with Joe Alwyn and how he first encountered Taylor Swift even before they got together. I love Invisible String because it's a love song, and I feel like the angle that she has taken is quite different. You always hear about this on TV or in film, the idea of a red string tying like 2 people together, and I wouldn't think of making that idea the central theme of a song. So I really like that. I also love her wit, especially at this line that she says, "Cold is the steel of the axe that I grind for the boys who broke my heart." I need to pull up the exact lyrics here. And then, "Now I give their babies presents." And that's just something that Taylor Swift pulls out of a hat and just makes it work. And then my top 3 is Epiphany. I know that it's like a droning song, kind of. It takes a while to develop. It doesn't really have like a peak moment, but I do love the message of it. Somehow I feel like it is very specific to the COVID-19 situation and the frontliners who are all living day to day, seeing all these devastations and just really depressing things because of the nature of their work, and that they're just trying to live day by day and also trying to help as many people as they can. I just love the simple opposites of the chorus. I don't know, the song really touched me. Those are my top 3 songs. I'm sure as I listen more and more, I feel like I would develop new opinions and new favorites. My overall review of the album, personally, because I don't really do music reviews, even though I'm a songwriter, I'm not really a technical musician, but I can only review her based on how I feel, and me being a longtime fan of Taylor. My overall impression of Folklore is it's really an introspective album. Obviously it was written during the pandemic, during the quarantine, and she collaborated with a couple of musical heroes of hers like Aaron Dessner from The National, Justin Vernon for One Song Exile, which by the way I felt like did not live up to my expectations, or at least what I imagine a Justin Vernon and Taylor Swift crossover song would be like. I feel a little bit let down by it, but I know a lot of people like it. The duet part, the part where they sound off each other, I felt like it was a little bit too expected. The lyrics mirrored each other perfectly, and I just wanted a bit more, I guess, variety in the lines. I especially did not see the warning signs. I gave so many signs. I just felt like that's so obvious. I love obvious things. I love straightforward things, but I don't know. It just wasn't to my liking. I love how different it is. Obviously, she takes a lot of time to craft all her album releases. She has been the queen of Easter eggs and teasing out all these little clues leading up to a release, and she really makes a big event out of it, and that's the reason why I really love her and look up to her strategic music stuff. And I love that, but I also love that she changed it up this time. She just felt like, I want to drop an album, I'm gonna do it, and it's totally like pulling the rug beneath our feet. I felt like it was such an unexpected thing, especially for Taylor, who over plans everything. I love how she let go and just let the words flow out of her. The thing that really stood out to me was the fact that the songwriting is so not straightforward. I'm used to the Taylor who tells it as it is. I'm sure that if you're a longtime fan of hers, her country stuff, her earlier stuff, a lot of the songs there are just like stories that she literally narrates through songs very creatively. And she does that in a very compelling way. Like, for example, imagine the song Hey Stephen. And the whole story of that song is about a guy that Taylor loves who's about to get married. She's just describing the whole scenario to us. And the situations are so cuttingly clear. Also imagine You Belong With Me and Love Story. Those are very literal songs. And I'm not used to Taylor being so vague about her songs. Like, for example, if you listen to a lot of songs on folklore, you don't necessarily know what she's talking about from the get-go. I think there's a lot of merit to that because she's really experimenting in her songwriting style, and it reads more like her diary. You have to kind of do a bit of the guesswork to figure out what she's talking about, to figure out what she's referring to. There's a lot of characters that we don't know yet, and you kind of wonder, is this song about this person, or is this song about a completely different character that she just imagined, or something that she just heard from elsewhere? This fact is illustrated well in Betty, because when the song starts you think that it's about her friend. As the song progresses you kind of question, wait, does she have a thing with a girl, or is she actually writing from a guy's perspective? The meaning is it given to you on a silver platter, and there you go. You have to ruminate on your own, speculate, listen over and over again, and just appreciate the poetry, the lyrical poetry in all of these songs. And the thing is, even after you're done, you're not entirely sure. Still, like, you don't have an answer. There are some songs here that didn't really capture me on first listen. One of those songs would be 7. It's a bit more complicated than the others. I kind of need to go back to the lyrics more to be able to kind of get to the heart of it. Some songs that surprised me, This Is Me Trying. I like the entire honesty of that song. She kind of talks about the way that she acts publicly, how her personality is a bit detrimental to her own career. There's this lyric that she says, she's ahead of the curve, yet the curve became a sphere. And I know that scientifically that makes sense, orbiting and like falling into yourself. I felt weird when I heard the curve became a sphere as a lyric. I don't know, I felt odd. I felt like, what? But I guess if anybody could make it into a thing, it's her. So Illicit Affairs, there are some lyrics there that I like. How you made an idiot out of me, how you made a fool out of me. Kind of reminds me a bit of Dear John, but not as explicit, of course. I like the whole secrecy of it. She does that a lot with her songs. Like in Love Story, the way that they always meet outside secretly. Forbidden Love. But this time, she's taking more of a real angle as opposed to the fantasy that's Romeo and Juliet and stuff like that. With Peace, it's kind of in the same vein of Call It What You Want To, where she talks about having a relationship with somebody and it may be good, but it always kind of comes with a price because of her status and her fame. You never sort of get to rest. Cardigan, my first reaction to it was, wow, this was not what I was expecting. I feel like when I hear folk and Taylor Swift, I would imagine something like Safe and Sound. These songs were not written to be radio friendly. These are just expressions of what she's feeling, where she is right now, and her dreams and musings, and also visiting some characters from her past. I love how it's a journey through her head, through her state in isolation. My Tears Ricochet, I'm sort of lukewarm with this. I do like some lines like, if I'm dead to you, why are you at the wake? But the My Tears Ricochet melody reminds me so much of Cornelia Street that I wasn't surprised where she went with that chorus ending, but that's just me. Mirrorball, I think, is a commentary on how she is and how she performs as a public figure. I guess in her heart of hearts, she still tries to do her best for the people who are watching. I like how Mirrorball reflects a lot of artists' insecurities about themselves and about their work, and at least that's my interpretation. As a songwriter myself, I feel like I always have to kind of outbest my past selves. She also talks about this in Miss Americana, her documentary, where she just really wants to please people. She thinks a lot about what other people will say about her, and that's human nature. That's what we do. As artists, we create things to be shared, and it's never without the context of others who are partaking in the work and who will be reviewing the work, who will be experiencing the work, living with the work. Those are my raw thoughts on Mirrorball. August, I liked her chorus here. I feel like she kind of references lover-esque songwriting in here. Mad Woman, where she says congrats girl. Betty I really love. It's very reminiscent to old Taylor Swift era. I hate to be the person who would constantly search for the old Taylor and every single new thing that she does, but it really felt like a Speak Now kind of era, talking very specifically about people in her past, that world of hers that we never knew. There's something so appealing about that. Hoax, I'm okay with it. She references colors a lot again in this whole record, the way that she does even in the past. She has an album called Red. She talks about a black lipstick in Cardigan, which is a fresh spin on a red lipstick, which she has always brought up in her past songs. Overall, these thoughts are very incoherent. I'm just really reacting as I listen to it the first time. I've seen a review that says it's her best record yet. I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. It's definitely a niche record. People who just love Taylor Swift so much like I do will love whatever she does. I mean, we'll try to love everything that she comes up with, and I do like this album. It's very refreshing, but I need a bit of time with it. I need a private time with it. I don't necessarily think that it's her best album from all her albums. I'm really glad that Taylor was able to do this for her sanity and for herself, that she was able to not overthink for once and to just do what she felt like doing. I'm glad that we have an entire new album to digest of hers. Any content is good content coming from her, I feel. I know that there are a lot of you guys who listen to my music who adore Taylor Swift as well, because who doesn't? So I'm happy to do this kind of review / unfiltered thoughts for you. I hope you appreciate it. I don't know if I made sense or whatever, but I just want to capture my initial feelings on this album, and I'll see you next time.